Welcome to the Scrum Feed, where Paul Dalligan and I take apart the top stories in the NRL each week. Today we'll look at Nicho Hynes bulking up, the West Tigers re-signing Sione Fainu on a massive contract, ex-Storm star Cameron Smith joining the Broncos coaching ranks, the Eels reject a further offer from the Storm for Zach Lomax, and the pre-season challenge starts this Saturday at Kogarah. All this and more on the show, and to kickstart it, Paul Dalligan has been looking at Nicho Hynes' physique. And he's got something to report. What is it, Paul?
Well, I tell you what, Nicho Hynes, he says he's added on a kilo. I think it looks a bit more than that to me. I don't know my muscle mass too well. I was once told I'm built like a 2-iron with ears, so I'm not the muscle variety. But I tell you what, the only six-pack I've ever had is a pale ale. But he's looking pretty sharp, Nicho. There is a reason behind it, though. Since Fitzgibbon arrived at the club, that's the coach. They've gone second, sixth, fourth and fifth. So it's a tough one for the Sharks. He thinks that might be his 1%, or having a look at that rig, I think he's added on about 10%, Professor.
Question, Paul. He's 29. Why has it taken him till this age to work out that he might have to bulk up in his position on the ground?
Yeah, well, it's an interesting one because there have been crossover players from league to AFL. I remember Carmichael Hunt. He dropped 8 kilos in order to keep up with the demands of AFL, different type of intensity. Nicho's been doing a lot of defence, and he also hasn't been running at the line as much. I think that last year's his lowest running metres since 2020. So he no doubt wants to run at the line more. We've seen with players like Mitchell Moses, that's what keeps defences guessing. So on the back of his age, the defensive mind, with the workload, and also an aggressive mindset, I think it's great for the Sharks to see how locked in he is. And obviously smashing those protein shakes. They've got some history there at the Sharks, but I'm sure they're all above board these days, the protein shakes.
Well, also, Paul, the opposition big boppers don't mind running at halves, do they?
No, and that's another reason why I have been told if you're not big enough in the NRL, you get very hurt. So there've been some smaller players, but they've got to be crafty. But Nicho Hynes stuck in the middle there. He's won all the size he's got. So I like to look at the Sharks this year.
He'll play in the Indigenous All-Stars game in 2 weeks' time, Paul. So we'll be able to see his 6 or 12 pack on view.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting to see. It's always a great game, that one, and it shows how much pride there is in the game between those two sides, with a lot of heritage, and they're certainly playing to win. It's not a Mickey Mouse game, that one.
All right, the West Tigers, their 24-year-old front rower, Sione Fainu, he signed a massive 3-year contract, said to be worth $1.1 million per year. There is a lot of these $1 million contracts going around, Paul.
There is, and it makes you wonder, given he was on the radar of the Perth Bears. I think the Bears are running out of Bears to sign. They might be running out alley cats, because they've struck out with most of the players they've gone for. So Mal Meninga doesn't seem to have the sway that he thought he might have, but that is big money. But this guy is an immense talent, and he's got 2 brothers who are very good players as well, who are up for contract much sooner. These 3 will be the future of the West Tigers. So takes me back to the Cloak brothers, Professor, when you had to deal with Mr. Cloak, the father, and you had to buy all 3 of them, but just to get one good one. But this isn't the case here. These are all gun players, and the 3 of them will be in the West Tigers team as long as they're there.
Paul, with new teams coming in, of course, that is great for players of quality in the NRL, because if you're just about coming off contract, as you say, the Perth Bears circling just about every player out of contract. You've also got the New Guinea team coming in, the Chiefs. So it'll be another green fields for good players coming off contract there as well.
It will be, and it's all inflationary, and we see that in American sports, and it's happening here. These agents earn their money that if this guy's going to get 1.1, there's a lot of players around that level who'll be looking for similar dollars. You can't really hold it against them. I saw an article about Cullen Matungi at the Rabbitohs. He just couldn't turn the money down when he got the Dragons offer. So Wayne Bennett was quite philosophical about it. Sometimes clubs just have to put the hand up and say, we can't match it. You look after yourself, and thanks for all you've given us. So it's a tricky situation for clubs, but if they've got to be realistic, it is a business, and we're seeing how tough the sport is. I don't blame them for earning all they can.
Paul, social media confirmed probably one of the worst-kept secrets, Cam Smith joining the Broncos coaching panel. They're getting plenty of experience there, 18 years and 433 NRL matches. So what role do you think they'll have him playing?
Well, he's going to be fantastic, because keep in mind, Craig Bellamy once said that he was the best coach at the Storm, and that was including Craig Bellamy. So he's certainly got the reference, if you want to call it that, from Bellamy. The rumour is that he'll take over from Bellamy once he finally hangs up the clipboard down the road at Amy Park. So that'll be interesting to see. I thought he would settle in Brisbane. I know his wife, every time the Storm contract was up for renewal, wanted to go back to Brisbane, but it never happened. He remained a one-club man. So leaving a comfortable family life in Brisbane to come to the Storm, I think the only thing that would do it would be the head coaching role, which it looks like they may be heading in that direction, not Billy Slater, who was also thought of as the long-term replacement.
Plot thickens on the eve of court proceedings between Zach Lomax and the Parramatta Eels, Paul. Melbourne Storm have increased their offer reportedly to $300,000, but still wasn't enough to get the Eels to change their mind. Where does that leave things?
Well, I'm hearing that the clubs are rallying behind the Eels, that they have a fair point. I'm not going to comment on the likely legal outcome because I don't honestly know how it will turn out. We discussed it before we went on air. It's going to be an interesting battle of very fine senior counsel. The questions will be about whether they would have let him go anyway, whether they're fueled by the fact that there's animosity between the Eels and the Storm. As I've said last show, you'd think that money would be able to resolve this, but this isn't a money issue. This is a fan base, and it seems the majority of clubs that are behind the Eels on this. So the Storm might want to reconsider this pursuit and perhaps chase someone else.
The other thing is, Paul, it doesn't matter if the clubs are behind with respect. It depends on whether the judge is behind the Eels.
Yeah, well, that's right. And that won't be part of the case, obviously. But I just think it's turning into a bit of a nightmare for the Storm. They're going to be stuck in expensive court proceedings. And I think you'd have to lean towards the Eels succeeding, given the way it was negotiated. But anyway, we'll see what happens. It's the right of a player against the wording of a contract. That's the test.
Okay, Paul, I want you to put your Swami glasses on, see if you can predict the future. Will a deal be struck before the court proceedings or not?
I don't think so. I think that the Eels are absolutely petrified about losing their fan base if they back down. I don't think there's a player swap available that they want to give up. The Storm doesn't have players to give up given their player losses, and money won't cut it here for the Eels because of the fan base is so ropeable. So I don't think a deal will be done, unfortunately. I think the Storm might pull out of this chase, but I just say that as speculation.
All right, Paul, NRL returns to the football field this Saturday. How happy am I to say that? The pre-season challenge starts at Kogarah at 5:30 with the Bulldogs playing the Cowboys.
It's a great little field at Kogarah as well. So, and an old school rivalry. There's a bit of history between those two teams, but Dogs will be fantastic to watch this year. Don't want to give away my predictions as yet, but I've got them finishing pretty high, Professor, without saying too much more, which is a rare treat for you. I am looking forward to a guy called Mitchell Woods, who's your long-term number 7. When you've got the likes of Galvin, Burton, you've brought in Sean O'Sullivan, who's one of my favourite phrases, the footballer's footballer, or he's got a good footballer's brain. There's also another favourite of mine. He's going to be a great X factor this year for the Dogs. So you've got Eamon Fitzgibbon running out, the son of Cronulla Sharks, Craig Fitzgibbon. And then one of the better names, surely, Professor, we've got Gordon Chan Kumtul at dummy half, if you don't mind. So that might be worth watching just to see how they fit that on the back of the jersey.
Well, the Bulldogs aren't playing a recognisable team, Paul. I checked the NRL website today and only 3 of the players running out on Saturday night have profiles on the NRL webpage. 10 of the players don't have a profile. So
yeah, it's never good when they don't even have a photo. They've just got the avatar.
That's exactly right.
Then again, some of them might be signing for the Perth Bears at this rate. So we'll see. I don't want to get stuck into the Perth Bears with Big Mel in charge, I'll tell you that much.
So Todd Payton, he'll be on the hot seat, no doubt, this season. He'd like to start, even though it's just the pre-season challenge, he'd like to start off with a win.
Oh, he would. He is one of the coaches, I think, that are, on a very hot seat. So they're way down in the premiership betting and, I'd have my predictions as well. Passionate area, and I think that, he could be one of the first act, unfortunately.
So the matinees, the Bulldogs and the Cowboys at 5. p.m. The nightcap at 7:30 p.m. The Dragons, the home team, playing the Newcastle Knights. They're taking it seriously, Paul. 10 out of the 13 of both teams have got player profiles, so they're fielding a fairly regular team. Both teams, terrible 2012s. The Dragons 15th, the Knights stone motherless last, but with a new coach.
Yeah, well, not just a new coach. They've got Dylan Brown there on silly money, 1.5, I think, a year, something crazy. When you've got Sandon Smith in from the Roosters, who's a fine player, Dylan Brown, you've got Fletcher Sharp, who's one of the best young players in the game. It's going to be interesting to watch that team with Ponga at the back as well and a new coach. So I actually, without, again, giving it away, I think the Knights will go close to the 8. I'm really looking forward to watching the Knights play. A lot of flack about the Dylan Brown signing, but as you see, $1 million now seems to be almost a base salary for some of the top line players. So at the time, it was what but it may be money well spent if that, well, it could only weighs up, as someone might say, for the Knights, but it may be worth the money if he galvanises that team in town.
Daniel Atkinson arrives from the Sharks to the Dragons, Paul. Does that mean the end of the coach's son playing in the number 7 jersey?
You may well do. I'm interested to see how they go this year, the Dragons. Don't have high hopes for them, but yeah, that wasn't a great experiment for anyone.
Less than a month to when the real stuff starts, Paul, and Las Vegas times have been fixed by the NRL. We're talking about Sunday, the 1st of March. The kickoff time's 1:15 for the first game, 3:30 for the second game. Be a great thing for the fans.
Oh, it's great that we can watch it in our time slot as well. It's going to be amazing for the people that are going. I've heard there's security being booked. Dogs and Dragons. I bet you wish you were there, Professor.
Well, I do. Maybe this time next year the NRL will be flying us over to watch the games, Paul.
Well, let's hope if we can get the viewer numbers up, we can get over there because it's a dream of mine to see this fine concept. I think we maybe start with Magic Round first in Brisbane and take smaller steps, but it's worth a shot. You don't land a knockout without throwing a big punch, Professor.
Exactly right, Paul. And that's a great segue that we ask the viewers to like the video, also subscribe to the channel, and also leave us a comment. If you disagree with Paul or I, make sure you put a comment down there, as a couple of people did during the week. And some people agree with you, Paul, some people don't.
Yeah, I'm used to that. You can't win them all, Professor. I'm happy to win a couple. But as I always say, even a broken clock gets it right twice a day. So in my case, maybe once a week I can get something right.
Well, thanks very much for that, Paul. That's all from the Scrum Feed. Until next week.
Good stuff. Thank you.